Hi, this is Dion Lisle with New Bank Consulting, and I'm here at the FMA Mobile Payments and Banking event, and we're here to talk to Ravi from Frog Design about banking, mobile money in developing nations and how that differs from money in developed nations. And I think Ravi can share with us some interesting experiences about some of these things that he's seen in his experience. Ravi, you've been spending time where?
Most recently, I've just come off the road. I've been in Nigeria, Tanzania, traveling around Africa for a couple months. In general, I'm based in Shanghai, but much of the research that I do in Frog is based in other places around the world. So I'm always exploring, looking to learn from different cultures and different environments and try to turn that into insights that will inspire our innovation work across many markets.
Excellent. Now, I know M-Pesa in Kenya is the one that many people talk about. It's famous, it's got a lot of transactions, it's got a lot of money movement, it's some large percentage of the Kenyan GDP. Now, have you seen that in other places in Africa?
No, there hasn't been a mobile money solution that has been as successful as M-Pesa. There are flavors of M-Pesa that are rolling out in Afghanistan and Tanzania, in some other markets, but none are quite that size.
So what makes that one different? Why has that one just gotten the traction and no one else has? Any insights?
I think there are a lot of things that have made it successful. I mean, part of building a network like that from scratch relies on having the trust in operators, a much greater trust in operators than you do in banking institutions. It relies on an agent network that is able to actually get into the deepest rural communities and bring people on board who are more likely to be wanting to transfer money. That often is the people in the rural and urban environments. And it involves essentially finding a way to more than just send money, but also use your money for useful services. So whether it's pay for your utilities or get water from water towers or whatever the case may be. And M-Pesa has evolved to be more than just a transactional system, but it actually is now a platform that many other third parties can plug into, and that's what's allowed it to be so successful.
Well, that's interesting, because I know I've spoken to people in Africa, I believe it was Tanzania, depending on where you're from, and there was talk where the local carrier had top-up coins that actually became almost like a local currency, literally replacing the central bank. Now, you've been in these areas. What have you seen as far as people using top-up to actually buy goods and services?
It absolutely is the case. What's interesting is that you find in many of these countries, people, particularly for the mass market at the bottom of the pyramid, they're spending 40 to 50% of their income on airtime. And when you're spending such a large percentage of your income on airtime is essentially equivalent of money. It is the top-up vouchers or coins or the other systems that they have are the same as currency, and you'll find people regularly bartering, gifting airtime, and trading airtime in the same way that they would trade cash for goods or services.
Interesting. Now, I noticed from your presentation, which was fascinating, I really liked the way you do almost like anthropology study of people, their money, their movement, their mobile phones. What's the most shocking thing you've seen somebody use mobile money, mobile commerce for? Politically correct, of course.
Well, I was about to say that maybe a somewhat politically correct, but very shocking thing is you see in many of these markets that the culture of greasing palms is actually something that is it's required as a way to build connections and get yourself out of situations, and it's not necessarily used for bad purposes, but it is in some cases. But it's also just the necessary way you build relationships. So much of success in this market, it comes from building a social network and grooming your social network, and money is often part of it. So it's quite interesting to see gifting airtime as essentially a similar way. You have to get yourself out of a situation and provide money to ease the situation.
Great, Ravi. Really appreciate you sharing those experiences. I think
you.
The FMA audience will get a lot from that.
Thanks.